Welcome to Withdraw Consent. I'm Jack. Today I want to talk about the justice system. We have talked about the legislative system. We know it has the lowest ratings imaginable. We've talked about the executive branch. We've talked about the reliability or lack thereof of elections. We've talked about how you got two candidates, but three main candidates running, and all of them are Israel First candidates. The fourth in line is a Jewish woman. Like, we have no faith in the executive branch, but everybody always says, but the judicial. See, they're going to do it in the judicial, right? And basically, I was talking to Victor about this, and he said, why do they call it the justice system? He said it should be called the ideological enforcement system, right? Do you see the point there? Because it's so politicized, it's not even anyway near justice. And then his point related to that was, the job of the executive in relation to the judicial is that the executive is to produce more supreme ideological enforcement judges for his own side, you know? And I just don't know why anybody has faith in the justice system. It's like, you look at this case with Trump and it's an absolute terrible thing. I'm not, plugging Trump on here, but I just don't want people to be treated poorly. And everybody said, nah, they won't bring this case. And of course, there's no evidence. The evidence is terrible, and Cohen lied and stole from him, and Stormy wants to, see his life ruined. And, well, look, they're not going to bring the case. Then they bring the case. Then they're like, well, they're not going to find him guilty. They're going to hang it, and they're going to hang the jury. And then the judge comes out and says, well, for the underlying crime, because it's only a misdemeanor what he's alleged to have done, unless it was done in the furtherance of an underlying crime. So then the judge gives three underlying crimes, say the jury doesn't have to agree on what the underlying crime is. So you could have a situation where only 4 people maximum believe that you did this specific crime. And if you didn't, then it's a misdemeanor. It's just an absolute miscarriage of justice. And then people are saying, oh, well, this same judge who did this terrible stuff, right, won't send him to jail or put him on the home house arrest, right? And it's like, but that's the same judge who did the other things. Why on earth would you have faith in this justice system, And you could go back. We've done Texas v. Pennsylvania, where it was over the election fraud, and the Supreme Court justices were heard through the door by the aides saying, but there'll be riots if they do the right thing justice-wise. Like, I just don't see how you can come to the conclusion that the justice system is going to do something good for you, like to get us out of this mess that we're in. Like, you could say, we'll look at the Colorado decision where the Colorado Supreme Court took Trump off the ballot. Then that went to the United States Supreme Court, and they unanimously put him back on the ballot. When it's all riding on the line, though, I guarantee you they're not going to be the people who are going to jump in and save you. So this whole thing came to my mind because I was driving to work, and I just hear on the local radio station, they do those little, they do like a little tidbit right before they go to commercial and say something, and it's like funny. And the guy said, well, funny story. Remember that election fraud in 2020? There was a movie about it called 2,000 Mules, which was about the election fraud. And it turned out in court that the movie was fraudulent about the election fraud. How funny is that, right? Okay. So I don't even know the story. I just hear that, right? What's the first thing you think when you hear that? Okay. So I asked Victor this question, and his answer was, I'll bet you it was something very minor and didn't have relevance to the overall claims of the movie, and that's why it was taken down. My response, his response was spot on once you look into the story. But my response was much different because I thought, wait, even if you provide me court documents saying that the whole movie is a sham, I'm just not going to believe you because I have so little trust in the justice system, And I feel like people have this, like a hopium type thing where it's like, oh, but the justice system will come through in the end. Okay. Well, so anyways, I'm just going to go into the story pretty fast, 4 slides, and we're just going to see that what Victor said is absolutely true, right? So 2,000 Mules, it's the one about election fraud and the ballot dropping in the, they did the cell phone geolocations to figure out that this many people had been to the drop boxes this many times with, packets that you can see on video. Okay. So here's the story. The publisher of 2,000 Mules issued a statement Friday apologizing to a Georgia man who was shown in the film and falsely accused of ballot fraud during the 2020 election. The widely debunked film Includes surveillance video showing Mark Andrews, his face blurred, putting 5 ballots in a drop box in Lawrenceville, an Atlanta suburb. As a voiceover by a conservative pundit and filmmaker, Dinesh D'Souza says, "What you are seeing is a crime. These are fraudulent votes." Okay, so just like Victor said, it's one minor part of the movie. Salem Media Group said in the statement that it was removed from Salem's platforms and there will be no future distribution of the film or the book by Salem. It was never our intent that the publication of the 2000 Mules film and book would harm Mr. Andrews. We apologize for the hurt inclusion of Mr. Andrews' image in the movie, book, and promotional materials have caused Mr. Andrews and his family, the statement said. A state investigation found that Andrews was dropping off ballots for himself, his wife, and their 3 adult children, who all lived at the same address. That is legal in Georgia, and an investigator said there was no evidence of wrongdoing by Andrews. Andrews filed a federal lawsuit in October 2022 against D'Souza, True the Vote, and Salem. The case is ongoing, and representatives for Salem and for Andrews' legal team did not immediately respond to emails asking whether the statement came as a result of the lawsuit. Just like Victor said, it was one minor part of it, not relevant to the overall. Sure, he got one thing wrong, and they take down the whole movie because the lawsuit is still going on, right? And so they're doing this to try to help themselves in the lawsuit because that's silly, because you could just cut this little part out, right? And you could even add a forward to it, like some type of, like you're doing to a book, and you could just say, hey, and then there's this part here, and I got this part wrong. I seen a guy doing something that looked like fraud. After, upon investigation, thanks to the movie, we got an investigation, no fraud there, you know? Anyways, but my point here, though, is that there's nothing you can tell me that comes out of the justice system that I'm going to believe, because it's so politicized. It's just so partisan, you know? And I mean, if I tell you that and you're a conservative and you're looking at this, you're going to be able to see it, even though the majority in the Supreme Court is conservative leaning, right? So a liberal is going to automatically agree, oh, you're right, as it currently stands, without packing the court or people dying and putting on liberal justices. But even as a conservative, you can see it. So what do you think about this? I'm interested in hearing what you have to say. My position is you should have no faith in the justice system. Maybe at the local level, if there's no publicity, and maybe. I mean, like you could look at Kyle Rittenhouse, even with the publicity. If the judges would keep the trials fair, you might get more Kyle Rittenhouse ends, you know, and less looking like this Trump thing. I mean, you could even go into like other stuff, like Bannon being he's got to go to jail for 4 months now for refusing to go to Congress when he was mandated to do so. But then the attorney general right now is under the same type of thing where he's refusing to go, and he's not going to get crime. I mean, you could even go into, honestly, you could go into the Hunter Biden thing. This Hunter Biden thing is ridiculous that they're putting him on trial for lying on a form when he went to purchase a firearms, saying that he wasn't addicted to drugs and stuff. Then later in his autobiography, he admitted to it and then did like an audible voice where he speaks the whole book, an audiobook, and he admitted to, like, just a full confession that he did do that, and now he's at trial for it. But and that's, I mean, stupid is right here. But like, nobody in the country gets tried for this. They get tried if they're a felon in possession of a firearm or trying to attempting to purchase a firearm, but they don't get tried for this. And he's just getting tried for this because he's the president's son, or because they're trying to kick out Joe, or just whatever's going on there. It's just so politicized. It's nothing like justice. And so that's what I got for you. I'm interested in hearing your opinion. So Wednesday, we're going to be talking about this kind of wacky idea I got, but it's going to play into this. It's going to play into an episode I want to publish on Thursday, and it's going to be all about immigration. But it's going to be like we did an episode about immigration law. It's not going to be like that at all. It's going to be about the practicality of my extreme immigration ideology being possible. And so I appreciate if you like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.